Hey, GAP Math students, this is video notes for percents, ratios, and portions, objectives 35 through 37. So if you don't have your packet, hit pause, go grab your packet. Should be open to the page that looks like this. What we're looking at today is nothing too new. There's no new actual notes. We're just going to go through the problems. It's going to be the same as last section, 32 through 34. We're looking at percent problems, finding either the part, the percent, or the whole. But now they're a little bit more word problems. Okay, so the main thing I'm going to do is get going on here and help you figure out, okay, what are we looking for, the percent, the part, or the whole, and then look at how to solve them. So we're just going to go in order for the problems that I want to do. There's going to be, I think, 8 problems, so it shouldn't take too long. First one, they want to purchase a new home valued at $153,000. She needs to borrow 58.6 of the home's value from the bank. How much do they need to borrow from the bank? So sometimes I look at the part of the sentence with the percent, and it says 58.6 of the home's value. Okay, so the home, remember, that's obviously the percent. After the word of is the home's value. Now, we don't know if we know this or not just by looking at this part. So we have to either figure out, is this what they're asking for, or is this what they give us? So the home's value is right here. So we could rewrite the sentence and says she needs to borrow 58.6% of $153,000. That is the home's value. Okay, so now this is our sentence. So that's the percent. After the word of is the whole. So we are looking for the part. Okay, so review from before. The part equals the percent as a decimal times the whole. So now we just fill in. Percent as a decimal, we move this 1, 2, so 0.586 times 153,000, and then that equals 89,658. So again, it probably pays sometimes to actually go through and type this stuff in, or if you need to hit pause and actually do this and make sure you're getting the right answer. The other way you could do this problem, remember, kind of right, this is just review up here. Anytime you want to use the percent formula, you'd start out with that, and then remember the percent goes here, the part goes here, the whole is here, and you fill in what you know. So if we started this one, we have 58.6 is the percent. We don't know the part, that's what we're looking for. And we know the whole is 153,000. So we cross multiply and divide, take the diagonal with 2 numbers. Okay. 1 second here. And that would be 153,000 times 58.6. Divide that by the 100. You get this, and so your answer is still the 89,658. Okay. All right, so that's the first problem. Second one. It says the population of the city today is 254,331 people. This is 110% of the population 5 years ago. So this is the key part I'm looking at. Okay, so we know the percent of the population 5 years ago. So the whole is going to be the population 5 years ago. So we have to figure out, is that what they gave us or is that what we're looking for? Then it says, how many people lived in the city 5 years ago? So that's the question and we don't know. So, and that matches up with after the word of. So this is what we don't know. So that means this is the part. And so what we're looking for here is the whole. Okay. So again, review from last section. The whole equals the part divided by percent as a decimal. Okay, so again, if I went fast with that, rewind it, kind of listen to that again. The key is this sentence with the percent, 110.1% of the population 5 years ago. Then look and see that population 5 years ago, if that's what they give us, okay, then we're looking for the part because we would have the whole. But if that's what they're asking, then we don't know the whole, so this must be the part. So we take this, divide it by the percent as a decimal. Now again, be careful here. If we have 110.1%, you move it to the left twice. So 1, 2. So that'd be 1.101. Okay. And then you divide, and you're going to get 231,000. Okay, and that makes sense. The population now is going to be a little more than it was 5 years ago because it's 110%, over 100% of what it was. Again, we're doing this method. Here you don't change it to decimal, so the percent is just 110.1. The part is what we know. And the whole is what we don't. So the cross multiply and divide here would be the two that we know. Again, you don't have to do both methods here. Pick the one that you want to do. So I should see on your notes at least one of these written down. Divided by 110.1, and we still get the 231,000. Okay. So we've done one where we find the part, we've done one where we find the whole. Let's look at the next one. They sell books on the internet through an online auction service. When a customer purchases 40% or $46 worth of books, he receives $45.18. What percent of the sales does he receive? Okay, it says round the answer to the nearest tenth of a percent. So when we look at this problem, they give us $2 amount and they're asking what percent. So right here, so that's a key what we're looking for. So we need to figure out what's the whole and what's the part. And so I'm going to take what he wrote or what they tell us here and rewrite it. So he's going to he receives $45.18 of the $46. Okay, so if we write it like that, after the word of is 46, so that's the whole. Okay, and this is the part. Now, a lot of times the part is smaller than the whole, but not always. So the equation way is the percent as a decimal equals the part divided by the whole. So here we would take 45.18 divided by 46. And that's going to equal 0.98217, and it goes on. Now, the reason I put 5 numbers on there, we have to round the answer to the nearest 1/10 of a percent. I could have got by with maybe writing 4 numbers, but the key here is this is not a percent yet. So the first thing we have to do is go 1, 2. So it's going to be 98 point something percent. We got to round to the 10th, means the first number after decimal. So we go here, we look at the number next to it. If that's 0 to 4, this stays at 2. If this is 5 to 9, that goes to 3. So that would stay there. Okay, here, if you're doing it this way, we don't know the percent. We found that this is part, that's the whole. So the diagonal with 2 numbers right here. So 45.18 times 100. We divide that by 46, and we get 98.217. And again, we round, we get 98.2%. Okay. One more on this page. So we've done one of each type of problem. So now the only reason I'm doing a couple more is because there's going to be some where the numbers are just a little different. And again, this is what makes it different from last session when we did problems just like that. But the numbers either have very big, we can have big percentages or really small percentages, and that makes it a little more difficult. So number 52 here, he's been working company for several years. Her current salary is 205.5% or 56% of her initial salary. She had an original salary of $24,000. What is her current salary? So again, we're going to look right here. So this is for sure the percent, and this is one reason why I'm doing this problem is it's a very big percent. So we haven't done a problem like that yet. And then it says of her initial. So we had to look at, is the initial salary what they give us, or is that what we're looking for? Okay. So here it says she had an original salary of $24,000. Original salary and initial salary would mean the same thing. Okay. So this is going to say 205.56% of, and we could substitute in $24,000. So that means that's the whole. So that means we're looking for the part. Okay, so I'm not going to rewrite this, but we're going to use this up here. Part equals percent of the decimal times the whole. Okay, so now the percent is a decimal. Again, this is the important part. We have 205.56. So we move that twice, 1, 2. So we actually have 2.0556 as a decimal, which seems weird because it's, you know, it's more than 1, and we're used to our percents as decimal being under 1. And then times 24,000. But what that means is it just, once you get to 100%, you're going to be doubling something. And this just means it just grew a lot. It's a lot more than the original salary. So now we multiply those. We get 49,334.4, and they want to the nearest dollar. So round to here, 0 to 4, that stays a 4. We get that. Okay, again, we'll keep doing this way, even though, just in case you're using this method. Okay, here you would leave this as 205.56. 24,000 would go here. We don't know this, so diagonal 2 numbers. So we have 24,000 times 205.56. divided by 100. And multiply that and then divide by 100. I'll just save a little time here. And it would equal this again, which we round to that. Okay. All right. So we're going to skip 53 because I might just start it off and give you a hint here just how to read a problem like this. Because we obviously, if we look at this one, it says 979 people participated in a taste test between two different brands of coffee. If coffee A was preferred by 380 people, what percent? So right there, we know what we're looking for. We're not going to do this problem, but just help you out, get started here. Preferred coffee A. Round the answer to the nearest tenth of a percent. So you're looking for the percent that preferred coffee A. So you got to figure out, the way I would write this is say, well, 380 people preferred coffee A of the 979 tested. So with that, you should be able to look at and figure out which one is the part, which one is the whole. Again, if you need to look back at this problem to help with that, you go back to that problem. Okay. All right. So let's move on. There's one other. I think you'll be able to figure out 54 by reading it. It's close to one of the other problems. 55, I was just going to give you a hint because it's another one of those that can be a little confusing. He's a salesperson at a car dealership. He will receive a bonus if he sells more cars this year than last year. Last year, he sold 136. This year, his goal is to sell 125% as many cars. How many cars must he sell to reach this goal? So we know this is a percent. So we know we're looking at either finding the part or the whole. So he's got to find 125% as many cars. And as many cars means he needs to find 125% this year of last year's total. So that's just another way you can write it. If he sells 125% of last year's sales, then he gets the bonus. Well, last year's sales, is that what we know or is that what we're looking for? That is what we know. Last year he sold 136. So now when you got it set up like that, we know after the word of is the whole, so that means we're looking for the part. And again, you can look at one of the problems on the first page to help you with that. Okay, 56 is one we're going to do. Manufacturer makes toothpaste that is 0.76% fluoride. If a tube contains 170 grams of toothpaste total, how much of the fluoride compound is in the tube? Round the answer to the nearest hundredth of a gram if necessary. So again, they give us a percent, so we're not looking for percent. Okay. And it's 0.76% is fluoride. Okay. And so that kind of helps, that word is connecting there. So that could mean it's the part, but let's make sure we got this. So 0.76% of the whole thing. Well, the whole thing is 170. So we're saying 0.76% of 170 grams is the fluoride. Okay, so this is percent. After the word of is the whole. The fluoride then would be the part. Okay. Again, part is the percent as a decimal times whole. Now this is the tricky part here. Sometimes people will just use 0.76 here because it already isn't like a decimal, but this is a percent. We have to make it smaller by 2 spots. So we have to go 1, 2. Any open spots are zeros. So the actual decimal version of this percent is super small. It will look like that. Multiply that, you get 1.292. They want it rounded to the nearest hundredth, which is tenths, 100,000. So we look here, we look at the number next to it. Since that's a 2, this will stay, and you get right there. Okay, if you do it the other way, this stays as 0.76. The percent stays there. The whole goes here. And so we would multiply diagonal with 2 numbers, so 170 times 0.76, all divided by 100. Again, I'll save a little time. That would equal the 1.292 again. Okay. 57 we're not going to do, but I'll give you a hint. So it's one of those ones that can be a little tricky. It says a newspaper article predicts the price of dairy products a year from now will be 134% of the current price. If the article predicts that the price of a certain daily product will be 3.09 in a year, what is the current price? Okay, so the key here is 134%. So we know the percent of the current price. So is the current price what they give us or what they are asking for? And if we look, it's what they're asking for. So if we wrote this as a short sentence, it would say 309 is 134% of what? Okay, so that means we're looking for the whole. And there's a problem on the first page that you can look at to help you figure that one out. But I thought I'd give you a hint there on how, again, to read the problem, figure out what we're looking for. Okay. All right. So the last page. 3 examples here. Again, if you feel like you got this kind of under control, you could try some of the problems before I do it on the video here, and then, you know, on a separate sheet of paper, see if you get them right, and then copy down if you really want to see if you're getting it. Otherwise, just copy these down and then try some on your own afterwards. So let's make sure. Let's look at this one. I think this one's a little tricky in the way it's worded. A school hoped to raise $40,000 at an auction to pay for new computers. After the auction was over, the school found they made $48,400. What percent of their goal did the school raise? So right away, we know what we're looking for. Okay, so we're looking for a percent. Now, the tricky part is usually in percent problems, the part is the smaller number and the whole is the bigger number. So, you know, and when we're looking for percent, if we're using the equation, percent is a decimal, we would put the part over the whole. But there is instances, even like with a test score, where if you get extra credit, your part is bigger than the whole. So now we have to just make sure here. Now, the goal is 40,000. So when everything is done with the auction, you would say, I made whatever money of the goal of 40,000, and then say is what percent. Okay, so when you write it like this, you know, if they only made 20,000, if they made 20,000 of the $40,000 goal, that would be 50%. It would be half of it. But they made 48,400 of that goal. But either way, the goal was the 40,000, and that's after the word of. So that would be the whole. Okay, so this is one of those cases where they went over what they wanted to do, and that's like saying they got extra credit. So you divide here, you get 1.21. And remember, this is the decimal form of the percentage, so we have to go 1, 2, we get 121%. Okay. The other way, finding the parts is the same, or the items is the same. We don't know the percent, but the whole and the part are the same. So we would take diagonal two numbers, so the 48,400 times 100, all divided by 40,000. When you do that math, you get 121, which is the percent. Okay. All right. Getting close to being done here. 61 is another one where, again, the math isn't any different, but there's just confusing ways of wording things. So we have to break it down. This is in the last election, Mr. Poole received 45.95% of the votes for mayor. So that's 45.9% of, another way we can say this is all the votes. If he received 4,595 votes, how many were cast in the election? So another way we can say this is he received 4,595 is, because it said that this is the percent of all the votes. That's the way we can write it in a short sentence. Okay, so that means this is the part, which is this percent of all the votes, and that's what we're looking for. How many votes were cast in the election? So all the votes. So we're looking for a whole. Okay. I wonder if we need to finish that one. We can. Oh, I don't know if we've done. I think I'll let you finish that one. That's the key, though. So I'll even write what it is here. The whole equals the part divided by the percent as a decimal. Let's just finish it. I planned on doing this one, so let's just finish it. So we would have, that's the part. We move this twice, 1, 2, so 0.4595. You should see the numbers look the same there, so it's going to come out as a power of 10, and it comes out to be 10,000. The other way, the percent goes just as is. This is the part. We don't know that, so we take the cross multiply. Divided by the third number, and we get 10,000. Okay. 62, I'm not going to solve it, but I'm going to give you a hint, and then we just got one problem left after that. It says, Mr. Bryant purchased a painting for $175. He recently sold a painting for $455. What percent of the original price the painting sell for? So key here is, it says what percent, so it's going to be a percent. Okay. Of the original price. So after the word of is original price. So of original price was 175. So we're looking at 455 of 175 is the percent, or you could, that sounds a little weird, you could say 455 is what percent of 175. Either way there, but the key is it says what percent of the original price. So the original price would be the whole. So again, if you're looking at this correctly, the the part is bigger than the whole, so we should have an answer that's over 100% there when you're done. All right, and the last problem, 63, says homeowners in a city pay property taxes that are equal to 0.794% of their home's value. Property taxes on a home are $836. What is the value of the home to the nearest hundred? So again, we look here, a percent of their home's value. So is the home's value what they give us or what they're asking for? It says the taxes are $836, and it says what is the value of the home? Okay, so that's what we're looking for. We are looking for the whole. We're looking for the value. So basically what we're saying is 836 is 0.794% of the home's value. I should use the word "the" in there, of the home's value. But again, that tells us that this is the whole. That's what we're looking for, part and percent. So one more reminder, the only reason I'm finishing this problem is just one more reminder on this decimal, these really small decimals. So the whole, again, equals part divided by the percent as a decimal. So we said the part is 836. Now that percent, it might be easy just to say, oh, it's 0.794. But remember, to go 1, 2 spots over to change the percent to a decimal, and it actually equals that. Okay. Now when you type that in, you get this. Now they want it to the nearest 100. So here's the 100 right here. So ones, tens, hundreds. Look at the number next to it. Since this is between 5 and 9, this would bump up to a 3. And then the rest are zeros to the decimal. So with the multiple choice given, even if you had this and didn't round it quite right, you should figure out that part. Again, here, you leave that as 0.794. 836 goes here. We're looking for the whole. So 836 times 100. Again, I'm kind of skipping one step here. So you type that in, get the answer, and then divide it by 0.794. And again, you'd get the, we had first over there, and then you'd round it. Okay. All right, so that's all the problems that I'm going to do. Last thing, if we go to this page, I can circle the ones that I did. 49, 52, 56. 51, 60, 50, 61, and 63. So again, the reason that I'm circling those is this key can be used for two main things. One is just to check answers. So if you did 55 and you got B, good. The other way to use this is if you're looking at doing 55 and you can't figure out what to do, 55 is an objective 35 problem. Well, we did 3 of those. So it's going to be like either 49, 52, or 56. Okay, and so that's how you use this page. So, so now your job should be practicing some of those problems. If you're on task, you have a day to copy the notes, you'll have a day to practice problems, and you'll have a day to do the test. So if you have any questions, make sure to let me know.